I've lived in Dubai for 18 years. I got into esports roughly 9 years ago when I got an injury in motocross. But my competitive drive drove me sort of into video games with League of Legends. And then I went to Call of Duty because I enjoyed the shooting aspect and, guns and all. It attracted like a 14-year-old kid, a 14-year-old boy. So from there, I competed with my team and we went to the Call of Duty World Championships back in 2014 in Call of Duty Ghosts under Team Clarity. And then from there, I took over an esports team and then worked with esports teams in Europe. Sort of gained my knowledge from Europe and UK teams and brought it back to the Middle East and then created the first Middle Eastern esports team called Valor Esports. From there, I went into consultancy because I realized that an esports team here, running one without proper funding was just too difficult for me. I was using personal funds. I put too much personal funds in it that I couldn't sustain it. So I went to consultancy and I've been consulting ever since. I mean, you could sort of, once I took a step back from running an esports team, I could tell that there was a lot of differences between European teams and Middle Eastern teams and the way that the industries were run and the way that the dialect is sort of composed. You can see that it's much more developed in Europe. You can see that the Middle East is still about 4 or 5 years back and the way it is. But within the next year or two, I believe that will really start to rise, and we'll see an increase in teams. We've already seen an increase since start of 2018. We've had 3 or 4 new teams pop up that all have payers of salaries as well. So we've seen a huge increase from 2017 to 2018, and we're going to start to see, I believe we're going to start to see it in tournaments as well. I mean, at the moment, our tournaments are very poorly developed. ESL came to Dubai back in 2015, I believe it was, and from there it was a rough road. I mean, it wasn't the best of events. I mean, I don't mean to do it, but and from there we've started to see a real growth in esports. I mean, the name ESL coming to Dubai as a whole was just a positive impact, but we're starting to see tournament organizers now which are starting to pick up that professional tournament organizers such as ESL and Riot Games are doing, and they're starting to bring that sort of structure to the Middle East, which is what we really need because we've been lacking it for the past 4 years. We've had community developed events and whatnot. So hopefully within the next 2-3 years, we're going to see an increase, and we're going to see the difference between the current differences between Europe, the United States and Asia to the Middle East. We're going to see that sort of merge and see the Middle East join the ranks of the esports leading industrial countries, and we'll be able to put a pinpoint on the map where the UAE is. We'll be able to, not just the UAE, the Middle East or the MENA region as a whole, we'll be able to tell that this is we've got talented players here, and I know that for a fact. I've been here for 9 years. I've been in esports for 9 years, so we'll be able to see a real developing story. We'll be able to get our supporters and the general population of the MENA region to support our players and support tournaments. That's what I'm hoping, and I think a positive impact that Kinguin have managed to bring to the event after seeing it today has been, just the name itself. Kinguin I've known for years, so it's the second I heard the name come in and that I got asked to come to the event, it was, I can't miss this for the world. It was such a good event. It was such an experience that we were able to learn from the blockchain and the whole esports industry as a whole. And we've had experts speaking about it. We're going to be able to see where everything develops. We're going to be able to see how they merge together. And I'm actually excited for the first time in a long time where we're going to see esports develop in the Middle East. The games are played the same. I mean, Dota 2, League of Legends and Counter-Strike are big as it is. I mean, we've just seen a Riot Games headquarters open up in Dubai, and they're currently in their recruiting stages now. So it's big. We've got a Counter-Strike and a Dota 2 server here based in Dubai, and we're soon going to see more publishers come here. But the most popular game I'd say is, at the moment as it stands, would be FIFA. Surprisingly enough, I mean, in Europe it's a very, it's a dying, esport, but in the Middle East it's huge. Some of the best players come from Saudi Arabia. And so after that we'd go to Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike is probably the longest and biggest game played from 1.6 all the way to CSGO. We've just been seeing it develop and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And with events and tournaments being held and other teams as well. And then we'd move on to Dota 2, League of Legends, Call of Duty. And Overwatch is big, but it's sort of died down now in the region.